Robert, just give us the squad news first of all, if you could. I think you've got a couple of returnees for Thursday.
Yeah, look, we've potentially got Adam Swift and Ollie Wilson available, so it's good news. Fenton Rogers and Aidan McGowan have just sort of completed a session then, so they're not far away. So yeah, there's actual players coming back into the squad now, which is good. Sam Hewitt's still another week off. He had to go and see the specialist regarding his head knock, so he won't be available for at least another week.
Do you feel like it's a timely return for Swift and Wilson?
Oh, look, it's always a good return no matter what game it is, wherever you're playing. Obviously makes it a little bit nicer knowing we've got some bodies on board with the sort of killer turnaround that we've had to endure. Being at Catalan's Saturday and then obviously playing Thursday night at Castleford. So yeah, it's good that we've got some players back for that.
It is a killer turnaround. Just give us an insight into how limiting it is in terms of preparation.
Yeah, well, there were not. Do you notice there were no game last Thursday? There were no TV game because Lee had the same sort of fixture, and I don't know if they just said they're not doing it, but they got it changed to a Friday night game instead. So yeah, it just makes it a little bit more difficult just from a getting on the field really more than anything else. Obviously the travel involved and giving the lads a little bit of time to rest and recover. So yeah, it just makes everything a little bit more difficult. But we've got on the field today, which is good, and players that we had a little bit of niggles and knocks seem to get through today, so that's good news.
How significant a fixture do you think it is, given where these two sides are on the table?
Oh, like I've said before, I think every fixture's pivotal, especially for us now. There's no one game that you look at, but obviously it makes it a little bit more when the league positions, when they're only just above us, then obviously it makes it a little bit more, it gives a little more spice to it, and probably places a little bit more importance. But we want to try and get as many points and win as many games as we can, no matter who we're playing. But yeah, it'd be nice this week.
What's your gauge on Castleford then at the moment?
I think they're playing really good. I think they're playing pretty good at the moment. When you actually look, no, Hull KR put them to the sword a bit, but Hull KR seem to be doing that with everybody at the moment. There's not many teams that Hull KR don't put to the sword. So I thought against Wigan last week, they were pretty good. They were really good in a lot of areas last week. And look, Castleford, being somebody who's played there, I had a little loan period when I were at Wigan as a young kid. It's a very, very tricky place to go at the best of times. It's an old school stadium, the changing rooms are tiny. You feel like you go back in time a little bit to the 70s when you go to that stadium. The fans are very close in proximity to you, so it's not a full length field. The 40 and the halfway line are next to each other. So there's loads of different factors that make it a difficult place to go to. And wherever Castleford are at the foot of the table or the top of the table, you're going to be in for a tough game. And, that's one that we're preparing for. The
changing rooms have been refurbed, so you might be surprised on Thursday. I'm not quite sure if they're any bigger, but they're a lot nicer than they used to be. The incident last week, obviously, everyone's talking about it. Danny Maguire was incensed. What did you make of his outburst, and do you think that could rile up Cass a little bit for Thursday?
Oh, look, I'm hoping that the referees don't get riled up and actually go against us, because look, we've had some difficult calls ourselves this season. Where it's very difficult for a coach, mate. When sometimes you feel like it's not going your way, and some of the other sides seem to get a bit of the rub of the green, and yeah, it can become frustrating. We had 0 penalties once again at half time. I think that's about 2 or 3 times this year where we've gone in at half time and not had a penalty. And I think it was stated a lot in the State of Origin last week, where New South Wales were sort of saying that it's unheard of in rugby league where a side doesn't get at least 1 penalty in a half. Well, come and watch Huddersfield Giants and you'll see that a few times this year. It's happened to us a fair few. It seems to have, on more than one occasion. So, yeah, it sometimes can be frustrating. Look, he's a good bloke. He's Danny, he wears that on his sleeve. And I think it was one of those moments where he thought it was a turning point.
It was a penalty, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, when you watch it, especially in slow, when you watch it in normal time, it's probably not as evident as what you think. When you do slow it down, yeah, it is.
100%. Just before I pass you on, because we've not got long left according to that time at the top of the screen. The England performance squad was announced this week. Would someone like Ollie Wilson be unlucky not to be in that group?
Yeah, look, I think Ollie's been playing really well for us this year. He's probably been a little bit unlucky. He got injured a little bit before obviously the squad were announced. Might have hindered him a little bit, but look, his carries.
There are some injured players in that squad, though, aren't there?
His carries are second to none, and defensively, he's been working really hard on it. He's always got good whack to his game. Working really hard on the wrestle side of the game. He's a really important player for us. So I'm just chuffed that he's playing for us. But yeah, he's probably somebody that back end of the year might be in with a shout.
Good luck, mate. I'll see you on Thursday. I'll pass you over to James.
Yeah, Rob, I was going to ask you about having a strong ref this week, because it's a tough gig, and it got on the back of those comments and what have you. You just want whoever officiates it. I don't think it's out yet, just to be straight down the line as you would any other week.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? You'd like to think that it's not swayed any which way, whether there's an outburst or not. Like I said before, you just want everything to be fair and equal and get a fair crack. And that doesn't always happen when you go to a away ground, when you're playing away from home. Inevitably human sort of not errors, but interactions, and when the fans are on people's back, and sometimes it can feel like they can get swayed. But yeah, look, we're expecting a nice fair game of rugby to be, and us get a couple of penalties at least in one half of rugby.